Hey guys, Sax here, doing another coaching session. This time we're doing Pit of Heresy, so we're going to dive back into one of my runs here. I actually did this right after my Shattered Throne from the other day, and so thought it might be a good time for us to get back into this. A lot of you guys reached out, a lot of you guys really appreciated the first Shattered Throne breakdown, so I appreciate you guys reaching out with all the kind words and things of that sort. So let me break down real quick as I'm in transition here. You can see really the whole goal of this is just that beginners and people, maybe you've been playing Destiny for a really long time and you just haven't tried or soloed in-game content. You've not even tried because you didn't have the confidence, or you might not know what to look for, like where should my mind be when I'm doing this content. And so I wanted to maybe help you see that. And so you can tell this run here, this was a first try solo flawless. All that movement in that entry section was so scuffed because I was not expecting this to be. I was just kind of going fast, trying to get my wits about me. So that's what I'm doing here. So let's talk real quick about what this encounter is. Just a reminder, as I do in all the videos, this is the Force to Wipe website. This is my clan that I started back in 2022. force-to-wipe.com/dungeon resources. If you would like to access these, we got all kinds of stuff on here. Gonna scroll down to the bottom. This is in chronological order. Find Pit of Heresy here. Now, took a little bit of a different approach for this one, because when I created this was quite an old dungeon already, and not a lot of great resources out there. So anyways, you're gonna see the loot table just like always at the beginning here. And then this first encounter is called Necropolis. So if you look at this one on the website, you're gonna see like an explainer breakdown of all these. And so let's talk about what we're doing in this encounter. So Necropolis is an encounter that's set in the side of a crater inside the moon. So not quite as deep as Crota, but you are there and you kind of have this scarlet fortress that's protruding from the side here. And so what you're going to see is an assortment of these spires, these red spires that come out of the side that make up this fortress. And they're going to have these hive runes around them. So let's see if you can see here. You can kind of see that there is what we call the Tesla, or it kind of looks like an ice cream cone rune. That will be here at the top. And what I was doing there, let me back up just a little bit, is you are killing the enemies around, namely this pit keeper, and this pit keeper will open the door. So when the pit keeper dies, the other enemies in the area will actually despawn, so you don't have to worry too much about them. And then I'm entering the room here, and you can see there's these 3 chains at the back of the room. Each of the rooms are going to have this. They're going to have these 3 different chains, and they all have symbols. So you can kind of see when I aim down sights here. These are our call outs. You can call them whatever you want to. We call this one Scorpion or Turret. It kind of looks like, a turret gun, something of that sort. And then we have this one, which is Burger, looks like a cheeseburger. And this one here is Tesla. So this is actually one of the 3 rooms that I will need to clear to progress into the next encounter. However, if you know anything about this encounter, you know you cannot kill this enemy in here unless you're using a specific hive relic sword. And you'll see I hit immune there when I'm shooting them. So I gotta leave. So you say, what do I need to do to kill it? How do I get a sword? We're gonna find what's called a heretical knight. I believe that's what it's called. However, in the center of these red spires, you're gonna see you have some elevators here. And basically, I want to try to get to these these platforms that kind of go between, and we're going to move between the spires. We're looking for one of the spires that has a symbol above it that does not match one of the 3 that were on that back wall. So like I said, we had Scorpion, Burger, and Tesla. So we're looking for, and if I remember correctly, so I'm just moving through. Here we go, the division symbols here. So we're just moving along. Watch out for these ogres here. Gonna skip ahead just a little bit. We're gonna kill a pit keeper here. And then it's gonna open the door. You see the door is open now. And we're gonna kill, okay, this is the accursed sword bearer. We're gonna have heretical knights later on. The accursed sword bearer is the enemy here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go out, we'll go on this elevator here. Now, there used to be a bug where if you carried the sword on these elevators, you could die. It was a frame rate issue and something with a physics engine. I don't believe that's an issue anymore. I think they patched it. However, if you do have that happen, all you need to do is just switch weapons when you have the sword on this thing. It'll take the sword up with you, but you won't be carrying it, so you won't die. So when I get up here, we will head to, you can kind of see, I'm looking to see, there is no room here, so I'm going to ride the elevator one more time. And we have made our way over to Scorpion or Turret. Just call it whatever you want to, whatever you can remember it by. So I've killed the Pit Keeper. Now let me point this out here. You can see I have a super bar here for the sword. This may be very common knowledge. You guys know this by now. This is the third in this series that I'm making. Who knows how many of these I'll have. But there are tips that I'm going to sprinkle into this that the average player or someone who just began, they might not realize. So there is a separate super bar for the Hive sword. So in this, in this raid here, or I'm sorry, this dungeon here, if you do Crota and you use the Hive sword, anytime you have like a Hive sword, you could get a super here, which you'll see I use here on this Pit Keeper right there. It's the downward slam into the ground by just hitting your super key while you're holding the sword. So for this encounter, to break the 3 chains in the back of the room, what do you need to do? You need to fight the 3 various types of enemies that are in here. Now, if you've played the Final Shape campaign, you have experienced these enemies in the post-campaign missions with Savathun, like when you're fighting where you have to either do a light attack to an enemy like this with the shield. You have to do a blocking. Basically, you block back the attack of a Shrieker into it, and that will kill it. Or finally, what we saw the very first room that I had gone into was where you have to do a ranged attack. So here you'll see I run up here. I'm going to block. And then realistically just need to get rid of those thrall. Now you'll see here what I do is I hold my block key the entire time. And then as I'm doing that, I'm going to block. And then when I have an opening, start swinging. My super bar is getting close here, so you'll see that I use it when it pops up here, and it does a big chunk of damage. Right there, he's gone. So that eliminates the first of 3. So let's move forward here, see if I can get over. Again, as you're moving, you just want to make sure you're being careful with all these enemies, getting rid of them as you go. Okay, I'm in Burger now. Okay, there's a couple of ogres in here, so we just want to be mindful of them. I miss on the Consecration Slam here, but Choir of One makes easy work of them. I need to go grab that sword, and I'm going to block with it. You want to keep this red X. Once you start getting it, keep that right on the boss, and it'll fry him down. So that's 2. And now I got to make my way back to the original room that I started at. You can see it over here. It's Tesla. It's on that far side there. I am looking again for one of these accursed sword bearers. So once you kill the first one you find a room and you kind of go through there, you will find more sword bearers after your sword runs out in this, like, these transition times between. So watch this here. I kill this guy. And then here's another little tip. With the swords, if you're using these Hive swords in particular areas, if you jump and do a light swing through the air, you can sword swing with them. So you just kind of keep tapping them, and it will keep your momentum mostly forward and only a little bit down, and so it allows you to traverse long linear paths like that. So I'm going to push into this room here, and you can see each of these heavy attacks are taking 3 ammo. And I actually don't pay attention to that, unfortunately. And I will run out here before I kill this enemy. So there are 2 solar shielded wizards in this room. Usually they're on the right and left side of the room, but because I was here earlier, I think their spawn points, they got a little shifted. And so I'm here, I'm swinging this. Mind you, the sword super will reset every time you drop it. Because if I had it, I would have used it, and then I would have been able to get the kill. You see, I left it pretty close. But I got in a dangerous situation right there. So that in it, that hive witch, she's gonna drop, you know, that smoke cloud and can slow you. So you want to be careful. And then, again, just sloppy gameplay. I lock in here in a little bit, but I wasn't quite locked in yet. So I'm going out here, trying my best to find a sword bearer quickly, just to have it. It gets a little difficult. Honestly, the best way to go upwards in this encounter is to just utilize the elevators that are there. And as I do this, if you appreciate the content, if you've enjoyed this, would you like and subscribe? Maybe share this with your clan or the people you play with. Maybe you guys have aspired to do this or you've tried in the past. Hopefully this could help. Would love to see more people get these titles. There's a title that is specific to you have to solo this dungeon, which is the Harbinger title for the moon. And maybe this is the one thing that's been holding you back. So you'll see I come in here, quickly make work of this. I just need 2 shots here. You just use these stairs around. Go in here. And then wham. 1 more. Took 3. Thought it took 2. You're going to see that there is now the central red spire of the fortress. Will have this green beam of light coming out of it. And you want to just go ahead. You're going to go straight there, kill the pit keeper, and you'll be done. You don't have to use the sword. You don't need it at this point. I go ahead, just get rid of the sword, and we're good. So we're done with the first encounter. So now what you'll see is we're going to grab loot. Be mindful, some of the armor drops in here can be juicers. They can have really good stat rolls, so make sure you check them. Even though there's not really any specific loot, it's all loot that can come from the moon that you can get here. You want to check on the armor, especially armor that comes from the very final encounter, like when you kill a boss. Can be very, very good armor, very good stat roll. Make sure on your ghost mod, or you have the armor mod on your ghost for whatever you want, a guaranteed plus 10 stat. So it'll be at least 10. So if, like on Titan, you put resilience, Hunter put mobility, and then Warlock, you could do recovery or discipline or something of that sort. Just make sure you have that on. Okay, so let's talk about the next portion here. This isn't quite an encounter, but it is a maze that you have to get through to get to the next encounter. So this is the Tunnels of Despair. So what we're going to have here are 3 individual paths, a left, a middle, and a right. They will have unkillable ogres, so enormous ogres that will be in them, do their void beam, they'll smash down on the ground, they have a slam attack. They're pretty dangerous. However, what you're going to find is you need to go into 3 of these 4 rooms. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the orange rooms. You need to go into 3 of them, and you need to make your way in, kill the heretical knight that I was talking about earlier. Got mistaken. I got twisted. You're going to kill a heretical knight. It will drop a purple orb, and you're going to dunk into the 3 of these here. You're going to drop in at the spawn point, and then you just choose one of the paths and go. So let's take a look at this, how I do it. You can see I was clicked out of my menu because that was me working on getting the map up. It had been a minute since I'd done this. So I chose the far right path. And then I went into room 4 to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to clear room 4 out. You can see the heretical knight right there. Slam that down. Grab the void charge. I get a little turned around here for just a moment, but what I'm doing is I'm actually going to go back out into this rightmost hallway here. And you're going to see ogre there. Now, because of my class item, I was invis. However, if you do this tech right here, just single jump and then a melee, you just do that over and over again, you're going to find that you can traverse a long distance pretty quickly. And you can close the gap and you'll outrun these ogres. So don't be too scared of them. Don't panic if they pop up. However, if you are already hurt from the enemies on the inside, you want to make sure that you don't go out there because they can just end you there. All right, so I just went all the way down. I came out of 4 area. I went all the way down, turned the corner, had moved past the ogre, and dunked into gate 3. And then where I'm going right now is into room 2 here, the orange room 2. So I'm going to clear these enemies out, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to kill the heretical knight. However, instead of going into the right room this time, I'm going to go into the central... I'm sorry, not right room, right hallway. I'm going to do the central hallway and then just go straight up to gate 2 here. You can punch these if you have the orb in your hand. You can drop the orb if you change weapons. And here, we're going to go into room 1. So I dunked 2, going straight into 1, and then I'm going to finish at gate 1. Now you can do whichever order you want to. Boom. I'm on the far left hallway here. You can see those are the beams from the ogre. However, jump melee, you're going to be much faster than the ogre. You should be just fine. And there is the kind of encounter 1.5, something of that sort. So no loot from that, but just get you through. Actually, fun fact, the Xenophage mission and a lot of the stuff to progress is in that area. You can see on the map here, there's like a hidden, there's a solar orb you have to do and deal with on this left-hand side. And then there is there's like a hidden boss room when you're at a certain part of the mission. If you go on the right-hand side and go into there. So we're not going over that today, but you know that that's in this area. So realistically, you only have to get through the first encounter and then get to here to do that. So, okay. So let's talk about the next portion here. Watch out for the ogres. Until the next encounter begins, those ogres will still be there. They will despawn. So this is the Chamber of Suffering. So what we see here, thankfully Bungie made progress between Shattered Throne and this, where now we have a rally flag. You can see, if you've done King's Fall or if you're familiar, we have a totem here, and then it is over a plate, and then we have some hive that are worshiping here. So what you have to do for this encounter, so I'm gonna kill these enemies, and then I'll pause it here. So you see at the top of my screen, I have a debuff called Curse of Suffering. If this hits too many stacks, I will die. The room will catch on fire and I'll be dead. How do you prevent that? You have to stay and keep this plate activated as long as possible. So what you're going to do is you're going to run in here, you're going to kill these enemies, you're going to stand on this plate. Your goal is to dunk 6 orbs into this purple orb, location here in the far right corner. And they will get rid of these hive runes that are on the outside, getting rid of this chain here. Okay, so I stand on here. Now I have flipped the room. So instead of calling, I just ran into the room, and this would be the right. Now we're going to look and we're going to do our call outs with our back to the dunk spot. Okay, so this is the back of the room now, where this is, and we're going to turn around. Okay, so using that call out, boom, turned around. Now I am facing the right direction. This is left. Middle is here, the yellowish, and then the green is right. So you got the white kind of side on that left. You see there's a heretical knight that's coming up over there. So that is the enemy. Just like the last encounter, you got to kill this knight to get the orb. I like to stay on the platform using either a sniper. Obviously, Choir of One is completely broken right now. You can use an assortment of different things, but you need to weaken this enemy when you can. Get them ready so that you are not off the plate very long. Because you see, now I have Curse of Suffering ×2. So the longer you're off the plate, the higher those stacks are going to go. So you're going to see, I go in here, and I'm going to touch on the plate to reset, and then dunk. So I went down to Curse of Suffering ×1. And what I'm doing here is I'm immediately looking. There are 2 balconies. There's one up here. There's one on the right-hand side as well. In those enemy, there's going to be knights that pop out. One over here, one over on this right-hand side. There you go. So trying to take care of them now. Left one's down. Or the left one, I think I leave finishable. I think it tucked back. Yep, you can see it's still up there. I am making my way because I know that it goes left, middle, right, left, middle, right. That's the order of the 6 orbs that we're going to have. And so this guy hides behind this little Hy-Vee thing, whatever this is. And so I need to get over here. So I grab the orb. You can see there's a little bit of a delay. If you're fast, like you can hold your button. It may not immediately pop in your hand, but it will. So if you continue moving, so don't just stop running. As long as you hold whatever button you're using to pick things up or interact. So I'm taking care of the knights up top. I'm taking care of the thrall below. And then I see that this guy has come out on this right-hand side. I could have probably done a little more to do damage to him before. Now, like I said, Choir of One is just destroying. But if you find yourself having trouble with any of these, you are not in a rush. I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off just because I'm familiar and comfortable with this encounter. If you're learning this, you're not in a rush. You are here. Just be present with what you're doing. Kill the thrall as they're running to you. Get rid of these knights up top. You can dodge one, like a set of 1 on each balcony. But if you dunk a couple of orbs and you get 2 or 3 of them up there, man, they're going to give you a rough time. You can see I have 2 up there now. And so I do my best to clear them out. And then just trying to do, I am ready for the left side here. Now I make a mistake on this next one where what I would say you need to do is stay on this plate and make sure everything's reloaded properly, that you're good to go. Well, before I go to get this next orb, I forget to reload and make sure everything's locked in. I take care of the knights. And see, even something as simple as there's 2 knights up there, they were hitting me, and then a thrall coming in, causing some issues for me. And so I need to make sure that I prioritize getting my healing back. Now I came over here to get this orb, but I hadn't reloaded enough to kill him. And so that's where I had to get my sword out, and I was like, all right, we got to move quickly here. There, I've dunked 5. I'm back on the plate. I'm going to use some abilities here, get some healing. And I'm waiting. Okay, I got some knights up. Take care of them real quick. I have Transcendence. Why not use it? Boom. Going over here. I'm going to spray down this heretical knight. Grab the void orb. Step on the plate to reset the Curse of Suffering. Dunk it. We're done. We have so many ways to heal ourselves in the game now that it has kind of trivialized this encounter a little bit compared to what it used to be. But there are many things that can hurt you here. So, all right, let's keep moving here. So this next part is probably where the most non-enemy related deaths have happened in Pit of Heresy. And this is the drop into the pit. So I don't have a whole lot of information for you other than just got a situational awareness, know what's swinging around, what's rotating, and try to stop as often as you can on these flat platforms. Now, I should have stopped here on this level. I didn't. I decided, I'm just going to risk it and go. I should not have done that. So I would not advise that. So just be mindful of it. Once you drop down, let's talk about this. This is called the Harrow. This is just a little maze encounter. Again, this is not a looted encounter, but this is kind of just a transitory between the second and third encounter. So what you're going to have is you're going to have 3 hive symbols. And again, this is me being out on my menu, so this is why you see my game options up. Here we go. You can see I have 3 symbols. And then I'm going to go to my map, and I'm going to look here for these symbols. So let's see here. I have this one. Has like a 2 lines vertical down and then kind of like sprouting from the top. So I see that's like mid left. I see this one here, which is kind of like an X with almost like a plus sign in the middle. That one is far left. And then finally I have this one. This one kind of looks like a person like doing the YMCA with their hands up. This one is on mid right. So when I go in here, you'll see I kind of linger here for a second, and I'm probably looking off to my other monitor just to remember what the call outs were. So then I just progress. I just go through here and see, I'll even speed this up just a little bit so you can kind of see. Now there are these traps that are through here, and these things will one-shot you. Do not touch them. Take them seriously. These swinging here. Now you'll see that I almost mess up here. I missed this jump, and thankfully I have my sword on, and I'm able to hit this here, but I would understand if, you weren't familiar and you didn't catch that. Now here, so you have context, I am in the center of the arena right here. What I just did was I came here, I went through past these traps here, turned this corner, and I am now here. So I know that I need to go to the right, get this YMCA looking dude, go back, go here, get this one, and then I need to continue on here, and that's exactly what I do. So we'll watch the first one, and then we're going to jump to the final encounter. This is random, so you can watch me do these, and this full gameplay is on my channel. So if you want to see the run without me talking over top of it, you can find that. I'll have it linked below. But you're gonna, you can see where these three are, but realistically, you just need to get familiar. So you can see this has a little YMCA. You have the symbol up there, so you can use that to kind of orient yourself if you need to. Malevolent Ritualist is down. That's one of three. When you're listening, you can hear a sound from it. And so you're going to do that a couple of times. So as you progress, you'll see you have the swinging there. You go through here. I'm kind of moving around. I'm going to peek through here. I can see one of them. Just take your time. Be careful. There's no reason to rush. There's literally no timer, no reason at all to rush through this. So, okay. So once we finish that, you will make your way here. I'll show you the transition from this. This exit right here, this is the end. You'll see it indicated here. This is exactly where we're at. You're going to come here. This door will be locked off until you kill those 3 ritualists. You come through here. You're going to come here to this light, and you're going to turn left. Boom. Get down to the end of here, and you'll turn right, and you'll be at the final boss. Bungie killed it with this name, the Cradle of Damnation. It's pretty sick. Purge the Tormentor. This is before Tormentors were in the game, so they were able to use it. All right, so let's take a look here. Swap my loadout real quick. Let me move forward just a second. Okay, so let's look at this boss arena. So the boss is here. He's leaning down in front of this crystal. You can't see him right now because of this platform here. Maybe I can move forward real quick. Just doing one last check here on all my goodies. Make sure before I rally. All right, so this is a good shot right here. So left side here. You have the 3 pillars. You got the left side, you got the middle, and the right. These rooms are going to have the bosses from the first encounter. Left side's going to have the knight with the shield that you have to do light attacks on. Middle is going to have the shrieker that you need to block the attacks. Right side is going to have the hive witch that you need to do a ranged attack for. So we're going to come in here, and we are going to kill one of these heretical knights. Now it's interesting. This is why it confused me. I was watching this footage back in preparation for this. The first encounter is an accursed sword bearer. Second encounter, a heretical knight drops an orb, and then they keep the heretical knight name for the sword bearer in the final. So that's what confused me a little bit. So you grab this sword here, and you're going to progress up here. Now, there are, like I said before, there are enemies that are in these rooms that you need to kill with the sword. However, there are also going to be these acolyte enemies that will flank around here. They do not need to be killed by the sword. And it is of my opinion that you are the weakest in this encounter that you are when you have this sword in your hand. Because we have become so strong in so many different ways now with our guns and our abilities and just the vast array of options we have for killing things in this game. Drop this sword. What I should have done here is I should have just come around the back, should have dropped the sword. I do drop the sword, but then I pick it back up, and then I put myself in a risky situation for no reason. Drop the sword, leave it on the ground, kill all the enemies, and then pick it back up when you're ready to fight the knight is what you should do. So I drop it, and then I get like frazzled by the fact that that knight came out there, and I'm like, oh, I'll pick it up. Shouldn't have done that. Again, this was the first time I had ran this in probably over a year, and I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. I was starting to believe like, oh, I'll get this first try. And so you can see, I almost die there. Now, look at this. Look at my radar here. If you guys didn't know, there's a radar up top. I know that's a surprise to some people, but this radar will give you a lot of information. When you're not aimed down sights on a weapon, you'll see this radar, and you can see here, I have 2 enemies behind me. I got one directly behind me, and I got one that's kind of around the corner here. When you're blocking like this, your back is exposed. So it's kind of similar to when you're using a glaive nowadays. Glaives weren't in the game when this first came out. But you are exposed. I see this radar, and I'm like, oh, this guy is a threat, but then the enemies behind me are also a threat. So watch this. So I'm like, okay, I got to get out of there. So I kind of almost hit that guy with a bit of a El Toro bullfighting thing where I let him come towards me. Get rid of these 2 enemies. Now you see it's just me and this broken blade. Be careful. I would not advise fighting back here like this. You see I'm being very careful, very slow. And finally, he will drop an orb, this void orb. And once it drops, the void charge rather, this right here will respawn, not the enemy, but the void orb will respawn after a set amount of time. It'll respawn inside the room, so just leave it. That's exactly what I do. You can see I was kind of even thinking about it. I was like, oh, should I take it or not? No, just leave it. You don't have to do this, but you know that you can sword fly now, so if you feel comfortable, you can jump over that. I'm going here, straight to the Shrieker. I got 30 ammo. I know that's more than enough. But again, I'm blocking. I'm taking damage from behind me. So you got to be careful. I almost die here. Because grenades are coming in and a bunch of enemies. No reason to push in, stay in the middle of the room. I always, when I first did this back in, I don't even know when it was, 2019 maybe, I lived back in these areas till I got my abilities back, till I got anything I needed back. Stay back behind and stay away, because if you're in the room or towards the center, you can get hit by the boss, you can get hit by enemies that are in the middle area. You're just putting yourself unnecessarily into danger's way. Whereas if you're back here, the only enemies that can get you are the acolytes, or if you're on that side with the knight like I was, the knight can technically come out there. So again, I leave the void orb. I'll tell you what to do with that here in just a few. Right now, I am prepping my transcendence for the damage phase. So I just got my darkness energy up. That's what I love Lost Signal for. All the ticks of it, just give it. Got one more sword here. I'm going to go take care of this wizard. Remember, you got to use ranged attacks on the wizard. So this ranged attack kind of takes a curve from the left to the right as you're doing it. So you can use that to your advantage, but also you just got to know so you don't hit the wall like I did. Do not rush. There is no rush here. I was telling myself this. I remember thinking this. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. You're fine. Just heal up. Fight the wizard. Like when you're ready. You can see I have my super for the sword, and I use that, and it does a big chunk because the witch was far enough down. However, if it's floating way high up in the air, you may not hit it with the entire thing, and you can kind of overextend yourself by doing that. So just be careful. All right, it's void charge time. What do we do with the void charge? The void charge is going to be taken, and you can see it goes through my head. Do not jump over this. There's nothing good's going to come of that. You just go down the stairs. You can drop the void charge. That's not a problem, and so don't rush it. Again, just deep breath. You made it this far. You can beat this. This is not the hardest part of this. You got this. So void charge in hand. Go down the stairs. Don't do that. You can see my thought process. I almost did it. I was like, no, let's not do it. So one thing you'll see is the enemies, they don't come up the stairs, but they'll sit right at the bottom of the stairs wherever you are sitting. So I'm here on this right-hand side. They're going to be camping this orb dunk here on the right-hand side. So what am I going to do? I'm going to rotate one counterclockwise. So we're going to come over here. I'm going to use the central one. I'm going to go up these stairs. I'm going to grab this orb. And I'm going to go to my right. Got Thrall kind of hounding me. And then finally, I'm going to go up these stairs. There's a sword bearer behind me. I want to get rid of him before damage. Okay, he's gone. And finally, we're going to go back to the far side here. Now, you'll see I dropped this to get Transcendent, and then I kind of flubbed this a little bit. You could definitely do it cleaner. It's fine. It's fine. Ideal world, if I was running this back, I would try to save those enemies so I could have biotic enhancements for the Syntheseps part of my class item, at least for one slam, but I don't. So let's look at the damage phase. So he's going to send out a lot of fire. You want to kind of stay out of his arm's reach because he's got his sword. He'll slam down on you at various times. He's going to send fire attacks out. I don't do a great job at it, but I do enough. And then when you get into the damage phase for a few seconds, you're going to see that you have a bunch of Cursed Thrall that come out. And so you do not just heavy focus the boss and forget about those. You really, really, really want to make sure that you know where those Cursed Thrall are. I believe there's actually going to be 4 spawns of 2. So there's going to be 8 total from the corners. And you want to make sure you get all of them down. So damage is a bit mid. Realistically, should have probably done about half. I'm just going to rinse and repeat. And I actually end up swapping my sword to a rocket. So let's go. We're going to look at the second damage phase. We're going to skip forward here. Get rid of this guy here. Grab the Void Orb. And we're in damage. So I do a little better on our thing here. Get my slam off. I know that there are Cursed Thrall out and about now. Thankfully, I proc biotic enhancements because they were close enough to me. I'm kind of using them to my advantage there. Then we get a melee off, and he's gone. So with the right damage weapons, you know, I could have done quite a bit more in the first phase than I did. I don't know that I would have one-phased, maybe with an all-arc loadout. But I felt very comfortable this entire run. So this is probably the easiest dungeon to solo, and I would say the most approachable. But it will still feel very good when you get it done. There are people I know that have not done it. Took me a little under 30 minutes. Probably take between 30 to an hour if you've never done it before. But just take your time. Take your time. Don't rush it. And you know, if you appreciate this, if you appreciate this type of content, would you like and subscribe, just like it says on the screen? Like and subscribe, share this with your clanmates. I'm making this content for the community. This is something I'd like to do. I've done for the last 3+ years for my community that I play with, and I'm having the blast just sharing this with people. So I hope you enjoy this, and until next time, be blessed.